006 video, Classical Kabbalah unfolded from PostModern Kabbalah. In updating the Mosaic tradition of the Kabbalah, which dates back to the revelation of the Torah teaching to Moses at Mount Sinai, we will generate the postmodern Kabbalah version from its classical forerunner by way of unfolding the triad onto the triad of triads. Triad onto the triad of triads. Bear in mind that classical Kabbalah, in turn, is the final outcome of a process of improvements on the original square array model to the present one with the middle section face down so as to allow a sequential ordering of the Sefirot numbers. Likewise, regarding the Otiot letters, there is the alphabetical ordering besides the classical one. In general, the Ari or lion is the accepted version of classical Kabbalah for all practical purposes. Our postmodern Kabbalah updated account is an improvement on the Ari classical standard version. The timeline is as follows. The reference Kabbalah array is the Gra, acronym for Gaon Rabbeinu Eliyahu, an 18th century scholar much honored in this tradition. This array, due to its configuration, is commonly denominated as the Tree of Life, for obvious reasons. The whole point of the mathematical array, consisting of twin spheres and 22 connecting lines, is that it comes to represent, on the one hand, the 10 numbers from 1 to 10, while on the other hand, the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. That's why it's a holy language. These two numbers and letters are further connected by way of gematria, where in the first letter Aleph, A, is 1, the second letter Bet, B, is 2, the third letter Gimel, G, is 3, and so on. In this video, we will not focus our attention on this connecting feature between numbers and letters. Rather, we'll focus instead on the array itself and the way numbers and letters match up. The reason for the importance of the 10 numbers and 22 letters in this array is that this is the primeval stuff of creation, out of which the universe came about, according to Kabbalah. As we can see, okay, so this is based on my book. Now, as you can see here in this slide, the drawback is the sequencing is fraught with inconsistencies. If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have to go back 6, and then jump 7, 8, and then go back again, and 10. So that's a problem. This matter of sequencing is corrected with a later Ari model, though there is an older model that already had this correction incorporated. However, the reason why we're including this older version, besides the sequencing matter, is mostly on account of its having two triads in its configuration. We see here one triad in bold and another triad in bold. We have highlighted the triads with a broader font other than the other connecting letter lines, as is clearly visible in this slide. So all of these lines connect the different sefirot. They're called otiot. They connect them, and I'm highlighting here the triads. As you can see, in the original Gra, there are no triads, okay? There are no triads at all. So in the older version, there is two. Now we jump to the Ari version, the standard configuration of classical Kabbalah. While there is much to say about matters relating to the Tree of Life, the sole focus of our video is on the emergence of the triads in the different configurations of the respective arrays. We can clearly distinguish one triad in the Ari version, down from two of the older version. So in the Ari, we have only one triad, whereas in the older version, we saw that there are two. And in the Gra, which is the original one, there are none. Okay, so we jump from none to two in the older version, and then we drop back to one. But it has the advantage that by facing down these numbers, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now it is sequential. That's the point that we're trying to make here. What we're basically doing here with a Tree of Life array is building up to a configuration that reproduces the triads that we found to be the defining characteristic of the Seed of Life display. Our argument is, since both the Tree of Life and the Seed of Life approaches are studies of the creation story, Bereshit, Genesis 1, 1 to 2, 3, they must be equivalent representations of the same thing. Hence, there must be a one-to-one mapping. And since the Tree of Life has the triad of triads, this feature must somehow find expression as well in the Tree of Life configuration. So now we jump to the postmodern. So then, this triad of triad is placed manually in the postmodern array. This being a hybrid version, it is conveniently also named Seed Tree of Life version. So as we can see in the postmodern, which is our version, we have one triad, we have two triads, and we have three triads. So we have the triad of triads in the postmodern version. With this matter now out of the way, from the Seed of Life to the Tree of Life, the next question is in the other direction, that is from the Tree of Life to the Seed Tree of Life. But before we do this, we need to fill in a missing step. That is, in the seed version, there is a main triad out of which unfolds the triad of triads, as we can see here. The question now is, what is the equivalent main triad in the tree version? In the following slide, we have the main triad of the Tree of Life array. Herein, the number 1 Sefirot number, the Keter, being whole as 1 of 3 and 1 is made to cover the whole as the ellipse would ordinarily do. So the first one, this one, in this triad, this one covers the whole thing, okay? So this is just 1, but it covers the whole thing because it's Keter, okay? Next would come the main triad. Next would come the main triad of 3. The 3, so this is the 1 of 3 and 1, and this is the 3 of 3 and 1. Made up of the usual second Sephirah, Chokhmah, using the traditional one called wisdom, at the vertex of the imaginary vertical axis, followed by the 3 Sephirah, Binah, or understanding, at the vertex of the horizontal real axis. So this is the real axis, and this is the vertex. And lastly, from 4 to 10, we have the virtual Sephirot, Da'at, knowledge. Now remember that this is virtual, okay? Why virtual? Because it comes to represent, it's kind of stacked up. Sefirot from 4 to 10. So this one itself is not a Sefirot. It's more like a generic Sefirot, so to speak. Please note that this last one is not one of the 10 Sefirot. Merely comes to represent the 4 to 10 Sefirot. So that's why I have kind of done it like this. This must mean that these 4 to 10 Sefirot must somehow be curled up in this 4 to 10 virtual Sefirot, Da'at. And this is precisely the whole point that we're trying to make, namely that the main triad unfolds as a triad of triads, and we'll shortly have the opportunity to witness. And right here, this is the main triad, like 2, 3, 4 to 10, and this one unfolds into these 3, and we'll have occasion to see in a few seconds. So now we move on to the scaffolding of this unfolding. In order to do this, let's first lay out the Sefirot numbers of the Tree of Life configuration array in the Seed of Life pecan display. This is now presented in the following slide. So we have here in the usual Seed of Life, which is our contribution, we have the main Sefirot, the main triad, okay? So this is 1, as we said, it is 1 here, but it covers everything. So we have here the 2, 4, 7 will be 2, 4, 7. And this one, the 3, 5, 8 will be 3, 5, 8. And 6, 9, 10 will be 6, 9, and 10. So this main triad unfolds into the triad of triads. Okay, so that's what we have here. Now in this last slide, we've placed the main triad located with the Sefirot numbers 2 to 10 and allow it to unfold in 3 sets. So this one, the one we just mentioned, gets unfolded into the 3. So what we have here is that in the Seed of Life, we have little triangles, okay? These are the triad of triads. And this is the main triad, and that's the one. This is the Seed of Life. Now we move on to the Tree of Life, okay? And this one somehow unfolds as a triads in this configuration. But here are the 3 triads, or the triad of triads, in the Tree of Life configuration. In this last slide, we place the main triad loaded with all the Sefirot 2 to 10, and allow it to unfold in 3 sets, namely the triad of triads. The first fold-down triad is made of the Sefirot 2, 3, and 6. 2, 3, and 6. The second triad is made of the Sefirot 4, 5, 9. 4, 5, 9. And the third and last would be 7, 8, and 10. will be the last of the Sefirot. So this is basically the same idea as this one. Well then, we hope this illustrates the transition from the main triad onto the triad of triads of the seed tree of life array configuration. So as we can see, the classical Kabbalah can be explained, okay, verily by the postmodern Kabbalah. If we all have to do is unfold the triad into the main triad, into the triad of triads, and reconfigure the etiot, the connecting lines, because in the original ones, that's one of the shortcomings that it has. Well, yours truly, Ricardo Turullols-Bonilla, and as always, God bless.